Speaker of the House Mike Johnson cannot be a real person. I don't know how he goes home to his wife at the end of the day and is able to explain how he is only servile to Donald Trump, and to Trump only. Because in about 10 months, as the midterms take place, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson will no longer be the Speaker. He will lose a lot of his power. He will lose grip on his caucus. It will inevitably be in disarray as the Republicans get smacked around in the midterms. Yet he is spending these next 10 months still being so servile to Donald Trump that he is ceding all of his congressional power. He gets asked moments ago about Trump's disastrous speech in Davos, Switzerland, and he says, first of all, he hasn't heard it. He hasn't even heard of it. But then he then gets asked if he will stop Trump from tariffing all of our European allies over Greenland. And Speaker of the House Mike Johnson gives the unsurprising answer, no. He will not assert himself. He will not use his constitutionally defined powers to take the tariffs over and say, dude, you can't just put a tax on U.S. citizens. No, he is going to be a cuck for Donald Trump. Let me play this through from beginning to end. Then I want to show you Newsom's response to Trump's speech, the world's response. So make sure you drop a like. Subscribe to the Adam Mockler feed on YouTube, whether you're on Facebook or Instagram. It means the world to me, and it helps boost our message, which is the truth. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson starts off by being asked if he saw any of Trump's speech in Davos.
Returned from Europe. The president has threatened tariffs on European allies who are opposing his plans in Denmark and Greenland. Do you think that's a fair strategy, and when does Congress have to get involved?
Let's talk about Greenland. I know the president, I think he may still be speaking there. I didn't see any of that because we were in Republican conference meeting during the timing of his speech. It was bad timing on my part. So I look forward to seeing it. My staff was handing me little notes about some of the things he was saying. I know that he has said that we will not have troops involved in Greenland. And as I had been saying for days, no one ever anticipated.
They call him See Nothing, Know Nothing, MAGA Mike Johnson. He's never heard of it. He's never seen it. He doesn't have anything to do with it. And it's always Trump's most heinous comments. Trump did not rule out military force. He repeatedly talked about how the U.S. could if we wanted to, how we're incredibly strong. We could do it, but he won't. He won't. But we could, but he won't. That was Trump's vibe the entire speech. As Alan points out, Mike Johnson is the most selectively aware Speaker of the House ever. The incompetence is staggering. It's like he's allergic to newspapers, news, or any current events. This dumb ventriloquist doll seemingly gets all of his news from carrier pigeons. He tweeted this out 33 minutes ago because Speaker of the House Mike Johnson multiple times, on multiple occasions today, was like, I haven't really heard of it. I have no clue what you're talking about. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson then gets asked about the tariff authority. Trump's tariff authority, whatever he has, and the Supreme Court is currently debating it, but whatever authority he does have expires this month. So Manu Raju from CNN is asking, will you guys assert yourselves and stop Trump from taxing U.S. citizens and abusing tariffs? And MAGA Mike Johnson is like the servile little guy.
You have an opportunity to try to block any vote challenging Trump's tariffs. These authorities expiring at the end of the month. Will you insert in a rule a provision blocking any effort to challenge Trump's tariffs?
We're determining all of that. What I would say is that I have no intention of getting in the way of President Trump and his administration and how they've been using this very effectively. I mean, you're talking about, I think it's $10 trillion or more. I don't know the exact total, but trillions of dollars have been brought into the U.S. in 1 year's time since President Trump took over. The U.S. economy is growing. Gas prices that are at 5-year low. The inflation rate is coming down. You've heard all.
You want to know what the ultimate way to defeat this talking point is? First of all, when Donald Trump claims that he's brought in $18 trillion, and then MAGA Mike Johnson claims it was $10 trillion, but the White House website says it's $7 trillion, somebody's lying here. They're all lying. All of them are wrong. We have not brought in trillions of dollars, but even if we were to concede that, what Trump is saying is that the largest corporations in America are basically getting investments. The largest companies, the largest businesses are getting all of these trillions of dollars at the expense of every small business in America that is now currently being strangled by tariffs. Every single time a small business has to pay a tariff, they have less money to hire people, to scale, to grow, to reinvest in their business and labor and their products, and that stops American innovation and growth. Also that large businesses, Donald Trump's largest donors and largest buddies, and the Elon Musks and Jeff Bezos of the world get these supposed trillions of dollars of investments. You see what I'm saying? It's disproportionate, and it's not a good argument coming from the Trump admin. Oh, you're screwing over every small business and every consumer with tariffs so that the richest of the rich can succeed. What are you going to do next? Put our troops at risk to invade Venezuela and grab their oil reserves? Oh, wait, you're already doing that to make the richest of the rich more rich, to make people at Chevron more rich, not the average U.S. citizen. Here is MAGA Mike Johnson then talking more about Greenland.
It benefits both Europe and the U.S. We'll all have to see the president will use every option on the table, and we'll see what develops. I don't. Wait a minute. I don't know that there's any specifics about that. So asking me about it is.
He doesn't know if there's any specifics. Didn't he just say multiple moments ago the military was ruled out, and now he's saying we'll use every option on the table? When you keep using language like using every option on the table, this guy in the back gets it. He knows. Look, he's like, this is disastrous for all of us. Gavin Newsom points out how insane this speech was, and he even says some world leaders agree with his comments yesterday that we need to go tougher on Trump.
Over a year.
You criticized world leaders when you got here, saying that some of these European leaders have capitulated to the president.
In the past.
You said you should have brought knee pads. What have you heard from them since then?
A lot. I heard a surprising number say, glad you made those comments. The exact opposite of what you might expect. They needed to hear those comments and to know that people in America have that point of view and perspective. And so I was very...
Do you want to name names?
Absolutely, but I'm not. But I would love to. And I thought yesterday's comments by Prime...
Really quickly, I love the facial expressions that happen here when we talk about naming names. Look at Caitlin Collins.
People in America have that point of view and perspective. And so I was very...
Do you want to name names?
Absolutely, but I'm not. But I would love to. And I thought yesterday's comments by Prime Minister Carney were effective, and Macron's comments, and obviously the EU President's comments were effective, and they helped shape, but the markets more so, what Trump said today and how Trump said it. It's not even. All of this is so simple, so basic. It's not complex, and so you know.
He's making the argument that Trump tried to use more toned-down rhetoric today to ease the markets because they were dropping after Trump placed these tariffs. And he's right. Trump was reacting purely to the markets, not to Mark Carney. But Trump's speech was still, nonetheless, unhinged. As Gavin Newsom says, it was remarkably boring.
What was your reaction to what he had to say about you?
None. I think he said something very different last night. I didn't hear new scum. I heard new green scam, but I mean, come on, it was remarkably boring. It was remarkably insignificant. He was never going to invade Greenland. It was never real. So that was always a fade. And so he says, well, we should negotiate. Well, everybody here has been willing to negotiate for a year. So it had fire and fury, signified absolutely nothing. Even by Trump standards, I was rather curious.
All bark and no bite. Wait a minute. Why is Jack Posobiec in the background there waiting to get his turn? Oh, my Lord. Jack Posobiec creeping around. Let's return domestically to MAGA Mike Johnson, who around this same time was giving his presser. You know, MAGA Mike over and over has cucked himself and cucked the American people for Donald Trump's quote-unquote agenda, or lack thereof. When it comes to the Affordable Care Act subsidies, MAGA Mike Johnson had to repeatedly delay, and we had to put a discharge petition through. Representative Lauren Underwood of Illinois helped push a discharge petition, which means that Democrats and Republicans can subvert the speaker and give people health care. He's cucking himself and ruining his career for Donald Trump. What about the Epstein files? We again had to put a discharge petition on the House floor. In this case, it was done by Lauren Boebert, Thomas Massie, Ro Khanna, Yasemin Ansari, a mix of Republican and Democratic representatives who wanted transparency, and Marjorie Taylor Greene at the time voted for it. Now, MAGA Mike Johnson realizes his power is waning and is just going all in, throwing all of his chips on the table to cuck for Trump. Watch this clip of him dismissing Democratic concerns about ICE's conduct as irrational. He says any concerns about ICE are irrational. This is the problem. They can never admit that ICE does anything wrong. when we have the videos. We can see the videos of U.S. citizens getting beaten, their ribs getting cracked, people getting thrown to the ground and murdered while driving off.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What do you make of the growing number of Democrats who say they're going to oppose the DHS funding bill, and do you foresee any issues getting that bill passed?
It's very unfortunate. I think we will get it passed. I saw a statement by a number of the Democrat leaders on the Appropriations Committee who said that this needs to happen. They said ICE is a separate issue. Hey, Democrats, if you have a problem with ICE, which many of them do, of course, irrationally, you should not take down the appropriations bill because there's all these other areas of Homeland Security that are...
We irrationally have a problem with ICE? There's nothing irrational about it. Any rational human being who sees these videos could connect the links. It's crazy because Donald Trump says this insane, batshit crazy, actually irrational stuff. He throws out conspiracies about elections and windmills and Greenland. Everything he says is inherently irrational. But MAGA Mike Johnson hasn't seen it, has never seen anything Trump has said. See nothing, know nothing. MAGA Mike Johnson has not seen anything or knows nothing. Yet apparently some statement that was made by like a state representative in like Utah or some shit represents the entire Democratic Party. MAGA Mike Johnson has studied it word for word and disagrees that there's anything wrong with ICE. It's just purely awful, purely performative. One more clip of MAGA Mike Johnson getting asked, like, you seem to recognize Russia is a threat. Nevertheless, Donald Trump still nominated Putin as a board of the member of peace. Guess what MAGA Mike Johnson said?
Yes.
You recognize the rampant threat of Russia and military aggression and the necessity of Greenland as a strategic point. Nevertheless, Donald Trump has nominated Vladimir Putin as a member of the Board of Peace for Gaza. Do you have any reaction to that?
Well, I think there's a long list of people nominated for the Board of Peace, and I think some of the details are still being determined. And for $1 billion, you get a permanent seat. I saw over the weekend. I've not dug into the details of that. It's not within our purview. It's an administration project. But I think it's one that's greatly welcomed. We need a Board of Peace there. We because of American strength, we ended that conflict there.
Dude, this is batshit crazy. Vladimir Putin's going to be on the board of peace for Gaza, but Trump is literally locking out some of our European allies and then placing tariffs on them. We need to be inflicting maximum economic pain on Russia and sending military equipment to Ukraine so they can continue to fight. Yet Donald Trump is distracted with everything else under the sun. I'm going to leave it there. If you appreciate these videos, you appreciate us calling out the truth, drop a like, subscribe on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, Instagram. I love you all. Peace out.